Is Satan Lucifer? Is Lucifer Satan? Quick answer, no. If you mean, is the figure called Lucifer in Isaiah 14 Satan? No. However, because of the impact and the power and the majesty of the King James Bible, people reading Isaiah 14, assuming that it is Satan, have now identified Lucifer with Satan, so that now when you say Lucifer, everyone knows who Lucifer is. It's the devil. Are you with me there? And it's caught on even among Satanists. Even Satanists have adopted the moniker Lucifer for Satan. So they call themselves Luciferian and refer to Satan as Lucifer. Right? With that said, is Lucifer in Isaiah 14 Satan? No. What's the evidence? Are you ready for the evidence? We're going to read Isaiah 14, verses 3 to 11. We're going to break it down into two sections. Pay attention to the context. This is the time to read and focus. Let's see if you get it. Isaiah 14, verses 3 to 11. Let's see if the context is about Satan or someone else. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahovah shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Pay attention. Verse 4. Who is Isaiah talking about? Verse 4, folks. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Bam. This entire chapter is about the king of Babylon, the human king of Babylon. Pay attention. And say, how hath the oppressor seized, the golden city seized? Yahovah hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. No one has come to chop down our trees anymore, since the king of Babylon has been destroyed. Watch here, Isaiah 14, 9 to 11. Pay attention. Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming, when I send you to hell, king of Babylon. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones of the kings of the nations. Now notice 10, 11. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? You mighty king of Babylon who wreaked havoc on the earth, you become nothing like us? You're now in hell with us? Art thou become like unto us? Nothing? Humiliated? Brought to the pit of Hades? Thy pomp, your arrogance is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Question. From verses 3 to 11, Isaiah is talking about who? Who's going to be covered with worms when he's killed, buried, and his soul goes to Hades, to hell, to join the other wicked kings of the nations? Who's he talking about? Let's look at verse 4 one more time. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor seized, the golden city seized? So who is it talking about? Everyone saw in Isaiah 14:4, it's the king of Babylon. So then let's look at verse 11 one more time. Verse 11. Thy pomp, your arrogance is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Who is going to be brought to the grave, and whose soul is going to go to Hades, to join the other wicked rulers whose soul are now in Hades in torment, waiting judgment? And who will be covered with worms? Okay, you guys see it. It's the king of Babylon, right? So then now let's look at verse 12. Surprise, surprise. Verse 12. How art that fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Bam! So is Lucifer Satan or the king of Babylon? If I just follow the context, who's Lucifer here? In the context, it's the king of Babylon. That's number one. Number two, Lucifer is a Latin word. Do you really expect me to believe that God gave Satan a Latin name before Latin was invented? That's his name? Because that's what you're saying. You're saying his name is Lucifer. Lucifer comes from the Latin translation of the Old Testament. When the Hebrew Old Testament was translated into Latin, the word hurled was translated as Lucifer. So do you really think that when Satan was created, God called him Lucifer? So where do you get his name is Lucifer? Why don't you say his name is Hillel? Because in Hebrew it's Hillel ben Shachar. Shining one, son of the morning. Hillel ben Shachar. Why would we say that the name of Satan is Lucifer when Latin didn't exist at the time of Isaiah? It came later on, and Isaiah is written in Hebrew. Why don't you say that Satan is Hillel? So why don't we have Hillelians? Do we have any Hillelians? Why is it Lucifer, Luciferian? Hillelians. Okay. So now let's go back to Isaiah 14, 12 to 15. Why then is this being described as being hurled from heaven? Isaiah 14, 12, 15. This is where I need you guys to pay attention now. Read with me. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? See, it's the same king who weakened the nations. But guys, pay attention. Why is he being thrown from heaven? Pay attention to the sequence. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Now do you understand why he's being hurled from heaven? Not because he existed in heaven, because he's on earth who wants to ascend to heaven to rival God. And God says, when you do that, I'm going to hurl you back to the ground into hell. It's because in his arrogant heart, he's now going to try to ascend to heaven to rival God, ascend above the stars, the angels. And God says, when you do that, I'm going to hurl you down to the earth, in fact, to hell itself, because you are no God and you cannot rival me. In other words, this being didn't exist in heaven. He's on earth who wants to ascend to heaven. You understand? Read the passages to yourselves. He says in his heart, I'm going to ascend above the stars. I'm going to be like the Most High. I'm going to ascend to God. So this being didn't start off in heaven. He starts off from the earth. And his arrogance wants to now ascend to heaven, rival God, and become greater than the stars. In other words, this is not Satan if you believe Satan's origin is in heaven. If Satan's origin is in heaven from where he fell, then how can you say Lucifer is Satan when Lucifer's on the earth ascending to heaven, and once he ascends, God will then hurl him back to the earth and into hell itself? So are you sure this is Satan? Did Satan originate from the earth and ascend to heaven from where he fell? Or is he a heavenly being from where he fell? So if he's a heavenly being, then how can you tell me Lucifer in Isaiah 14 is Satan? This being is on earth. This being is a king of Babylon, a place on earth. In other words, it's a human being who thinks he's a god.